We're going to talk about Karen Bass as a California politician, the current mayor of Los Angeles. Now, we didn't talk much about her because she wasn't a big factor in things, conversational stuff we did, unless it was something that Congress did back when she was actually in Congress. So we didn't talk about it much there. We talk about Gavin Newsom a lot because he has higher aspirations. We talk about Kamala Harris, the I guess, former senator. She may still be senator, as far as I know, from California, who ran for, no, I guess she's vice president. So no, she doesn't have a job. She has to find a job. But Kamala Harris, who was the senator, district attorney, and all those things, and of course, vice president, also almost president at this time. But we haven't really talked a lot of Karen Bass, and because she doesn't really pique these interests. But as we were watching these wildfires happening in Southern California, and especially around Los Angeles, a lot of the criticism that is very much rightfully shows should be targeted at her is coming out in big time. And so people who did not know they needed a new Democrat to be angry at found one in Karen Bass. Now, she's facing significant criticism locally and, of course, from people outside us who are engaged in this thing from a distance about the handling of wildfires in the city. Now, let it be known that she was not there when the crisis started. She was actually in Ghana attending a presidential inauguration for a Ghanaian president when the wildfires actually started, and trying to get back was an issue. For a couple of days, we had the deputy mayor on TV doing all the TV hits, and he did a fine job in the early stages, but it was not the mayor, Karen Bass. Now, before traveling, there were thoughts and rumblings of issues of dryness and possibly things going on. Obviously, it turned into 5 fires in the span of about 2.5 days, and that was not expected. So it was basically seen as neglect, not dealing with her home and being away. In fact, I believe she had some sort of pledge that is out there that said she was not going to do any foreign junkets at all, and she's doing foreign junkets. So this would be going against what she said in her campaign. When she got back, the response seemed to be delayed, not only just from her showing up and getting caught up, but everything in general was not prepared. They weren't well funded. They weren't well set for responses. So many things were going wrong. And this reservoir thing, which technically is not her fault, is still a problem to deal with. The delay in getting things done, getting things started, and getting initiatives going forward for firefighters and people who are dealing with the fires were a big concern from people, and Karen Bass gets the blame for being the figurehead for the city. We also had what basically led to this, and this is where the outcry, the fight between the mayor and the fire chief in Los Angeles is becoming a big head, where Bass approved about a $17.6 million, $8 million reduction in the fire department's budget. $18 million just gone. And so those cuts across various places, as the fire chief says, and the ability for the departments to respond was essentially shut down. Large-scale emergencies weren't even prepared for because they didn't have it in the budget. Literally could not get it done in the budget to go forward. That's something that she literally did on purpose, including which extends the beef that she's had with the fire department and fire chief specifically since she became the mayor. But cutting $18 million from their budget off the bat and then having a big old wildfire they couldn't respond to because they said, $18 million would have helped is a big deal. We're going to wrap this up with essentially the people. It's not quite torches and pitchforks because it's dry and they don't want to set their own stuff on fire. But the residents and public figures are basically having all sorts of frustrating moments on what's looked like a lack of competent leadership during the disaster. Some have labored her inadequate, worst mayors ever has been put up there, but all these things go out there because she just isn't standing up for the job, not being able to lead right now. Mayor Bass has stated she wants to be better at this, and also said she was in consistent and constant contact and communication with city officials on her trip and on the trip back, so she was back in the action, back in the saddle as quickly as possible. She also defended the budget decision, asserting that no reductions would impact the wildfires response, period. Just not, the $18 million is not the difference between what's fixing things in the wildfires or not. They needed their budget reductions in general, and it just so happened that it happened here. The irony is something that she has to live with, and people are calling for her head, as they do in these situations. Whether she's earned all of this ire is debatable. It's always debatable. But Karen Bass is the figurehead for Los Angeles. She's the target. It's not Gavin Newsom's. It's his problem. But he's not the biggest target. He's also not running for re-election, which brings a chance for Kamala Harris to be her problem in a couple of years. But for right now, it is Karen Bass's problem. She is the picture head. She is the people we're looking at. And it's not looking too great for Mayor Bass. If this is the key one single issue vote that people will vote her out of, this one will be a landslide by whoever either the Republicans can put in there or the Democrats can primary her with, because this one looks bad, is bad, does bad.